lot of us do things and we're not in our right mind. All right? All this gonna come back together. Just stay tuned and pay attention. Pay attention. One of the other issues is that when people are coming into the university, they're desperate. They're in a desperate state. Well, my car about to get repoed and they about to take the house. And all of that, we know how to stop all of that. We do. But at the same time, let's recognize that when you're in that type of situation, there's a spiritual issue going on. Everything is spiritual. And if you don't get that, you're not even ready to grow. So I said this. People come into the university and they're down here. They're operating in this lower vibratory frequency. This is a vibratory frequency chart. This is what comes with the UNA law book, the beginner law book. But if you're operating down here in pride and anger, despair and fear, grief, shame and guilt, you are not operating in your right mind. So then you're going to do things that are going to cause your demise and you're not even going to recognize it. It's going to put you in a worse place because you're operating down here. We got to get our students to operate up here. Now, there are some things that we can do when we're talking about a mortgage issue and even vehicles, where we can get a stop to all of that. But you're not going to come into the university and then we're applying a process for everything. If you got more than 2 processes going on at the same time, you got to get your spiritual side right. Listen, just pay attention, because I get it. I know this is going to go over a lot of people's head. Just pay attention. Pay attention, because you're going to need to know this, especially if you're trying to tap into the Social Security account and all that. If that's in your mind, if you're talking to me about a 1099 and you don't know law, you're not under trust, you're not ready. That's another process you're not ready for until you're ready to learn. Just listen. I'm going into this vibratory frequency chart, and I hope y'all are listening, because this is why a lot of people get scammed. This is why a lot of people get taken, because they're operating down here. You desperate. You don't want to learn. You just want to do a process. I found out I could tap into the TDA deal, and I want the Social Security number, and I want to write an A for V, and I'm going to put that 1099 CABC. You operating down here. And you're not recognizing that what you're trying to do is to tap into something that's not for you yet. Y'all know the saying, what God has for you, it's for you. And then what's not for you, you're not going to get. This is why I need you to get your spiritual side, because people think all of this paperwork is what just going to pay for everything. Let me say this again. This is why people get scammed. Because listen, I got somebody out there who's using my work. He was a student using my work, and he's just scamming people. Oh yeah, we can do this and we can help you do this. And then he's not doing the work. And then when people try these processes, it doesn't work for them. They want to blame the process, but that's not the problem. The problem is spiritually, they are not deserving of what they're asking the universe for. They think they're asking man, but man can't give you nothing. Man can't give you nothing. It's the universe that's providing all of that for you. So you can do all the paperwork in the world that you want to do. If it's not for you, you're not going to get it. But the minute you get in tune spiritually, everything that you desire will show up, and you don't have to fight for it. People think the money is in the paperwork. It's not. And if you're not understanding that, well, then you get ready to get scammed. If you're not understanding that, you're going to have all kind of processes. You're going to stay in court. You're going to stay fighting, and you won't see a penny. It's all in the spiritual essence. And that's the problem. So you hear a lot of people out there say, people out here scamming you. They scamming because that's why we have a university. It's not going to come overnight. The way some of these people are, you can get some success now. And let me rephrase that, because if you've done the spiritual work, it can very well come overnight for you. But if you haven't done it, and somebody's telling you, yeah, we're going to help you do the paperwork. Just give us $12,000. And you're going to get scammed. You're going to, because you haven't put in the work. Let me go into this, what I'm talking about now that I've prefaced that. I hope y'all paying attention, because I'm letting you know there is remedy. There is remedy. But the remedy is not with man. It's not with paperwork. The paperwork is a formality. It's something you can do to help you get to that point. But if you don't have the spiritual side intact, you're going to go out and do this process, and then you're going to swear, oh, it don't work. It's all a scam. Okay. My people know it's not a scam. My people know. And so one of the reasons why, as I was saying earlier, we only deal with our students when it comes to processes, because if you're not on a certain level when you're doing these processes and your energy is not in alignment, then you're not going to get the success. And then the only thing you're going to be doing is trying to blame us, when the problem really is you, because nobody can stop your gift, or as y'all say, blessings. Nobody can stop that. If it's supposed to come to you, then you're going to get it. So I need to go into a little bit of history right now, because I've said this before, and I'm going to go ahead and repeat this so we understand who we are as beings. Okay, we are spiritual beings, ethereal beings. We've been here before. We always were, always will be. All right? And in knowing that, you got to know this, because I need it to be clear. This is not your first time here. A lot of people don't get that. They just think, well, I just popped up here. What? I don't have nothing to do with what happened in the past. And then sometimes you'll hear people saying, oh, well, my ancestors, our ancestors did this. You are your ancestors. That's where I'm leading to. Before we get into a process and you want to write this process or what have you, and do an A for V and a 1099, I need you to know who you are as an ethereal being. Always were, always will be. And so in understanding that, you are your ancestors. So why am I talking about your ancestors? Because I need you to know, all you people, especially you melanated people who are original people of the land, some of y'all coming from Moors, I need you to understand that as melanated people, it used to belong to you. Everything was yours. You weren't in this position. They want to tell you you came in here as a slave, when that's not the true history. They want to tell you some forefathers, and they show you these light-skinned people. That's not the true history. Your so-called forefathers were Moors, melanated folks. That constitution, it was not based on Islam, but the people who did write it, it was based on the Iroquois Confederacy, which came from another group of brown people, which were the original people of the land. I hope y'all paying attention, because I'm giving you some history so that you can understand how we got here. You had everything, ownership of everything. You weren't in a position where you needed some welfare or some food stamps or some government cheese. That's not where we come from. But that's the lie we're being told. You had everything, but you lost it. Your ancestors. Why? What happened? You need to pay attention to that, and then you're going to understand why this whole game is spiritual. So what happens is your ancestors were involved in bringing in another group of people. So-called, I call them Albions. Y'all call them white. They're not white. But who brought those people here? Moors. And then the original people played a role in enslaving them too. Y'all got to know history so that you're not acting like some kind of victim. You can't win if you're acting like a victim. Victims don't win. So let's understand this. You have this situation where you had Moors bringing Albions, so-called white people, in here, and they were slaves. Not no indentured servants. That's what they want. Oh, they was indentured. No, they was full-fledged slaves, and they were bringing them in as children, kidnapped from places like Sicily and Ireland. Y'all didn't read about this? Read White Cargo. Look up white slaves in America, and then you're going to understand the truth. But the narrative is that, oh, you were a slave coming in here. Okay. But see, you're not the only one who's on welfare, and it's not just melanated people on welfare. It's Albions too. But I need this to be made clear that at one point, you didn't have to ask for things, or you didn't have somebody over your estate. And so by doing these deeds, you have to repay the energies that you put out.